Welcome back to another video, guys. Today we're going to be diving into a recap of the bowl games because it's all over now and we only have the semifinals and the national championship left, and then we are going to dive into the transfer portal. We are going to dive into the semifinals and what could happen because it's down to 4. It's gonna be a fight. Both games are really good. Okay, so the first thing we are going to be diving into is a recap of bowl games and where each team finished in their conference. We're only going to go over the Power 4. We're not going over the group of 5. But let's get into it. So the first bowl game we actually had was Washington-Boise State. Washington won 38-10 and finished their season 9-4. Then the next bowl game we had was the first round of the playoffs, which the first one was between Alabama and Oklahoma. Alabama winning 34-24, which ended up having Oklahoma finishing their season 10-3. NC State and Memphis also played, and NC State won, finishing their season 8-5 with a win over Memphis. That was 31-7. There was no score in the second half. Then on Saturday, December 20th, it continued the first round of the playoffs, with the first game going was Miami, Texas A&M. Miami won 10-3. Tulane got wrecked by Ole Miss 41-10, and Oregon beat James Madison 51-34. James Madison finished their season 12-2. Tulane finished theirs 11-3, and Texas A&M finished theirs 11-2. Then on Tuesday, December 23rd, Louisville played Toledo and won 27-22. Then Hawaii beat California 35-31. Oh, by the way, Louisville finished 9-4, and California finished 7-6, losing to Hawaii. Northwestern on Friday, December 26th, beat Central Michigan 34-7, finishing the season 7-6 and having a winning record. Minnesota beat New Mexico 20-17 in overtime and finished 8-5. On the 27th, BYU beat Georgia Tech in a comeback win, finishing the season 12-2, and Georgia Tech finished 9-4. Virginia beat Missouri 13-7, finishing the season 11-3, and Missouri finishing their own season 8-5. Houston beat LSU 38-35, finishing the season 10-3, and LSU finishing their 7-6. And finally, Pittsburgh lost to East Carolina, finishing the season 8-5. They lost 17-23. Penn State beat Clemson, finishing the season 7-6, and Clemson finished theirs 7-6 also. Then the next Power 4 bowl game was on the 30th. Illinois beat Tennessee to finish the season 9-4, while Tennessee finished theirs 8-5, 30-28, and TCU beat USC in overtime 30-27. Then Wednesday, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, Miami beat Ohio State 24-14. Ohio State finished the season 12-2. Michigan got beat by Texas 27-41. And finished their season 9-4, while Texas finished theirs 10-3. Iowa beat Vanderbilt and finished the season 9-4. It was 34-27, and Vanderbilt finished their season 10-3. Nebraska lost to Utah 22-44, finishing the season 7-6, while Utah finished theirs 11-2. And Duke finished their season with a win and being 9-5 against Arizona State, 42-39. Then New Year's, Indiana beat Alabama 38-3, absolute embarrassment for Alabama. Then Ole Miss upsetted Georgia 39-34. I I predicted this. Oregon shut down Texas Tech 23-0. Then, lastly, the last 3 bowl games, January 2nd, with Cincinnati getting beat by Navy 35-13, Wake Forest beating Mississippi State 43-29, and finishing their season 9-4, while MS State finished theirs 5-8. By the way, Cincinnati finished 7-6. And the last bowl game was SMU beating Arizona, even though they played a very poor second half, whereas they were with 3 turnovers, and let Arizona come back. It was 24-0 after the first half. So those are all the bowl games, and I do have projected rankings. So we're also going to go over that. I forgot to mention it. Okay, so getting into my rankings. I'm going to first say this. A lot of this was affected by the bowls, and another thing is that I had to think about this a lot. And I just spent the last several minutes going over it, making sure I felt like this was correct. So, this is also projected of what happens in the top 4. Indiana number 1, as you can see. Miami number 2. I think Miami's going to beat Ole Miss. They're very hot. I don't know if Ole Miss can do it. Oregon number 3. Oregon only being in front of them because they started the playoffs in front of them. Ole Miss number 4. Ohio State number 5. Georgia number 6. Texas Tech number 7. Now this is where it gets weird. BYU number 8. And you may be like, what? But here's the thing. Why is BYU being so disrespected? It doesn't make sense. BYU's 12-2. Just like Ohio State, just like Georgia, just like the team that beat them twice. Yet they're getting very little respect. My opinion, they haven't lost to anyone good. I mean, they haven't lost to anyone bad. They've lost to the same team twice, who got a playoff bye and won the conference. And yet, they're not allowed in the playoffs. And then there's also the fact that they've had good wins. Utah, pretty sure they beat Arizona. They destroyed TCU. Several good wins. I don't know if they played Houston. They may have, and I'm pretty sure they beat them. They beat Cincinnati, who was looking very hot for a while. Moving on, though, Texas A&M 9. And you'd be like, wow, where's Alabama? Alabama's 10. And now you're thinking to yourself, but Alabama got into the conference championship. Yeah, they did, but the only reason is because I don't even know why the reason they got above A&M. I think it's because they lost to Georgia. And even then. I mean, not beat Georgia. I don't get why. I don't get why they were put in. I'd have to look behind it. But Alabama never played Texas A&M. And doesn't have as good as a record as Texas A&M. So we cannot say, yes, Alabama is better than Texas A&M. They may have gotten to the SEC championship, but that doesn't mean that they are better than A&M. They both had the same record in conference play, and they never played each other. So you can't say Alabama's better. And I don't think they are. I think A&M would beat them. Oklahoma is 11, obviously getting into the altercation between Alabama and such. They make the playoffs. Utah is 12. It makes sense. They went 11-2. Notre Dame's 13, 10-2. Texas 10-3 at 14. Virginia 15th at 11-3. Vanderbilt is 16, 10-3. Iowa 17, 9-4. Houston 18, 10-3. 19 USC, 20 Michigan, 21 Duke. I personally feel like Duke deserves to be here for winning their conference. That's my opinion. They may have gone 9-5 and had some of the craziest losses like Tulane, UConn, such and such. But they, especially at the farther end of their season, they looked better. Arizona State, good win. They beat Virginia, who's they almost won the ACC. They're the best team by record in ACC play. TCU's 22, SMU 23. TCU is interesting. Finished their season off with a great win. Amazing win. which is why they're here. I don't think it's right to have USC ranked and then TCU not ranked. The thing is that they struggled in conference play. They went 5-4, but they beat SMU, which is why SMU's right behind them. Personally, I think SMU has a higher ceiling. Georgia Tech, number 24, they had some good wins, some bad losses. Not bad. Their worst loss was 8-5 NC State. So not a horrible loss. Arizona finished 25, and you may be thinking, Dominic, there are no group of 5 teams. So here's my opinion. The only team that was even close to worthy a spot in the top 25 was Tulane, and it was only because they beat Duke. Now, if we want to use the Alabama logic, they played at the beginning of the season, so it doesn't count, guys. I think Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Utah, Texas, Virginia, all can beat Alabama. I could have put them there, but I didn't. I thought about it. But Alabama finished on the worst note possible. They got annihilated. After people saying, Alabama's going to beat Indiana. Because, Indiana's on a bye, so they're going to be lazy. You don't know Indiana. You don't. Indiana is not like everyone else. They're different. Kurt Cignetti's a different coach. I don't see a way that they lose. I only think Miami could beat them. Maybe. Because they're angry. So, you can say what you want. I don't think Alabama, with the way they played some of their games, I don't think they're an amazing team. I don't think Alabama had great games. I don't think they have a high ceiling. I don't. I think they have a low floor, too. You lost to Florida State, who's 5-7. You lost to Oklahoma at home. Your best wins are Georgia, who played both on the road. You beat Oklahoma, you beat Georgia, you beat Vanderbilt. No, I'm not going to include Missouri and Tennessee, because those two were shown as a hoax when they lost to Virginia and Illinois. Moving on to the portal, let's talk about who has moved on to a different team. The first person, and things, by the way, this is different. This is as of 4:30 Eastern Time, January 4th. So, there can be more updates. But here is some stuff. It's a free-for-all, by the way. Michigan State's wide receiver, Nick Marsh, transfers to Indiana. Nebraska got Notre Dame's quarterback, Minchie, if I pronounce that right. UCF got JMU quarterback, Barnett. North Carolina added Edwards from Maryland to the QB mix. Old Badgers, Washington, got Old Dominion's quarterback, Joseph. Colorado got San Jose State's Scudero. Yes, I pronounced that right, thank God. Arizona State got Kentucky's quarterback, Cutter Boley. Calandria, UNLV's quarterback, is visiting Florida State along with another quarterback that I'm trying to remember the name of. He is a pretty good quarterback. More stuff. Running back Caleb Hawkins to OSU, Oklahoma State, and QB Drew Messamaker to Oklahoma State. So Oklahoma State's picking up UNT's team. And there are probably positions at OSU that are already good in a certain term. So that's good news. Rocco Becht, Iowa State's QB, following Matt Campbell to Penn State. Alabama wide receiver Rico Scott entered the portal. He has not found a new home. Indiana is playing Oregon. Indiana looks better than what they did when they first played Oregon. This is going to be played in a neutral site. I think Indiana's going to beat them. I don't think it's going to be even a huge chance. And personally, I have nothing against Oregon. I don't. I don't have anything against Indiana. You may notice that there aren't any Big Ten flags. I've been waiting to get them. I got them, and there was two Washington flags instead of an Oregon flag, so I had to return them. But anyways, it's really interesting. It's gonna be interesting semifinals. Indiana, I think they're gonna beat Oregon. I think Miami will beat Ole Miss, but this game in particular, I think is gonna be very, very good. It's going to be a nasty game. It's not going to be... It's just going to be difficult for both teams. Miami, like, it's going to be interesting because Mark Fletcher and Malachi Toney and Carson Beck are dangerous. But Chambliss at Ole Miss, Lacey, all the weapons Ole Miss and all the explosiveness they have is going to be interesting. Now, here's the thing. Miami's got a defense. Miami's got a great defense, yeah. Ole Miss does not have a defense. They don't have a great defense. They have one of the lower-end defenses in the SEC. So it's going to be a really interesting semifinals because Ole Miss is the one playing with a bad defense. Oregon's defense has been questionable. Miami's defense has been one of the best in the country. Anyways, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'd love it if you would press the subscribe and like button and comment down below what you think. I appreciate it to those who do so. Shout out to everyone who does that. And yeah, I am excited for the playoffs. Final thing I have to say, final thought, SEC, not the best conference this year. Definitely not. They're proving that in the bowl games. Ole Miss is fighting for them. I don't think they're going to do it. But yeah, goodbye guys. God bless.